The Human Aura, Astral Colors and Thought Forms by Swami Panchadasi. Chapter 5. The Auric Kaleidoscope. As we have seen, the human aura is never in a state of absolute rest or quiet. Motion and change is ever manifested by it. It has its periods of comparative calm, of course, but even in this state, there is a pulsing, wave-like motion apparent. The clouds of changing color fly over its surface and in its depth, like the fast-driven fleecy clouds over the summer sky, illumined by the rays of the setting sun. Again, fierce storms of mental activity or emotional stress disturb its comparative calm, and the wildest scenes are witnessed in the aura by the observer. So intense are the vibrations of some of these mental storms that their effect is plainly felt by the average person, though he is not able to distinguish the colors or the great whirls and the swirls of auric substance accompanying them. A person sunk in reverie, dream states, or sleep presents an interesting auric kaleidoscope, which possesses great beauty if the person be normal and of average morality. In such a case, there is a cloudy clearness, if the term may be used, tinged with tints and shades of varying colors, blending in a strange and interesting combinations, appearing gradually from previous combinations and sinking gradually into new ones. To the observer of the aura, the term opalescent instinctively presents itself, for there is a striking resemblance to the opaline peculiar play of colors of delicate tints and shades in a body of pearly or milky hue. Color shades into color, tint into tint, hue into hue, as in the color scale of the spectrum, of which the rainbow is the most familiar example. But the rainbow or spectrum lacks the peculiar semi-transparency of the auric colors, and also the constantly changing and dissolving body of colors of the aura. At this point, I wish to call to your attention to a phase of the aura which I purposely passed over in the preceding chapters. I allude to the phase of the aura which presents the pearly appearance of the opalescent body, which we have just noted. This appearance is manifested neither by any of the mental or emotional states, nor is it the prana aura or vital force, which I have described in a previous chapter. It is the manifestation of what is known to occultists as etheric substance, and is a very interesting feature of the auric phenomena. This etheric substance, which manifests thus peculiar radiance in the body of the aura, composes that which is called by some occultists the astral body. But this latter term is also employed in another sense, and I prefer to use the term etheric double to indicate what some others know as the astral body. Etheric substance is much finer form of substance than that which composes the physical body. It is really matter in a very high degree of vibration, much higher than even the ultra-gaseous matter of physical substance. It may be sensed ordinarily only on the astral plane, which is its own particular plane of activity. The etheric double, composed of this etheric substance, is the exact counterpart of its physical counterpart, the ordinary physical body of the individual, although it is capable of great expansion or shrinking in space. Like the physical body, it radiates an aura, and this combining with the other forms of the auric body gives to its peculiar pearly appearance, which is the background of its opalescence previously noted. The etheric double explains the phenomenon of spectral appearances or ghosts, for it persists for a time after the death of the physical body, and under some conditions becomes visible to the ordinary sight. It sometimes is projected from the physical body, and at such times appears as an apparition of the living, of which there are many cases recorded by the societies investigating physical subjects. The etheric double, or astral body, is referred to here, however, merely to explain the peculiar pearly tint of the background or body of the aura, and through which the mental and emotional auric colors play and move. It may interest you, however, to know that this phase of aura is always present around and about a ghost or dematerialized disembodied soul, or spirit as common usage terms it. The aura of the wide-awake person is, of course, far more active and more deeply colored than is that of the person in reverie, dream, or sleep. And again, the aura of the person manifesting a high degree of mental activity or strong feeling or passion is still brighter and deeper than the ordinary person performing his daily routine work. In the state of anger or love passion, for instance, the aura is violently disturbed, deep shades of color whirling and swirling in the depths and surface of the auric body. Lightning-like flashes shoot forth, and great bodies of lurid smoky clouds fly on the surface. Looking into the aura of a man wild with rage and passion is like peering into inferno. The astral plane, in the region of a lynching mob or other body of persons filled with rage, becomes a frightful scene of auric radiation. A person filled with the emotion of pure love fills his aura with the most beautiful tints and shades of high rosy color, and to behold the same is a pleasure fully appreciated by the occultist. A church filled with persons of a high devotional ideality is also a beautiful place, by reason of the mingling of auric violet-blue vibrations of those therein assembled. The atmosphere of a prison is most depressing and presents a most unpleasant appearance to one possessing the astral vision. Likewise, the astral atmosphere of an abode of vice and passion becomes really physically nauseating to the occultist of high ideals and taste. Such scenes on the astral plane are avoided by all true occultists, except when the call of duty leads them to visit them to give aid and help. There are two distinct features connected with the auric coloring of every person. The first is the coloring resulting from the more habitual thoughts and feelings of the person, from his character in fact, while the second is the coloring resulting from the particular feelings or thoughts manifested by him at that particular moment or time. The color of the feeling of the moment soon disappears and fades away, while the more habitual feeling bound up with his character causes its corresponding color to abide more permanently, and thus to give a decided hue to his general auric color appearance. The trained occultist is, therefore, able to ascertain not only the passing thoughts and feelings of a person, but also to determine infallibly his general character, tendencies, past character and actions, and general nature simply from a careful examination and study of the auric colors of the person in question. As all occultists will know, every place, dwelling, business place, church, courtroom, every village, city, country, nation has its own collective aura known as astral atmosphere, which is simply but a combined reflection of the individual auras of the human units of which its body of inhabitants is made up. These atmospheric vibrations are plainly felt by many persons, and we are instinctively attracted or repelled by reason thereof. But to the developed occultist, these places manifest the auric colors in the combinations arising from the nature of the mentalities of the persons dwelling in them. Each place has its collective aura, such as each person has his individual aura. The astral plane presents a wonderful scene of color by reason of this and similar causes. The harmony of the color scheme, in some cases, is marvelously beautiful, while the horrible aspect of scenes resemble a nightmare vision of the worst kind. It is easy to understand why some of the ancients who stumbled into glimpses of the astral plane while in dream state or trance reported the vision of terrible hells of unquenchable fire, fiery lakes of smoking brimstone, etc., for such ideas would naturally come to the mind of the uninformed person who had peered into the astral plane in such cases. And in the same way, the visions of heaven reported by the saints and others of high spirituality are explainable on the theory that these persons had sensed some of the beautiful scenes of the higher astral planes filled with the combined auric tints and hues of souls of high development. The principle of auric colors holds good on all the many planes of being and existence, high as well as low. I merely hint at a great occult truth in making the above statements. The thoughtful will be able to read between my lines. I have given you a little key which will unlock the door of many mysteries if you will but use it intelligently. End of chapter. Chapter 6. Thought Forms. That interesting phase of occult phenomena known as thought forms is so closely related to the general subject of the human aura that a mention of one must naturally lead to the thought of the other. Thought forms are built up of the very material composing the aura and manifest all the general characteristics thereof, even to the auric colors. An understanding of the facts of the human aura is necessary for a correct understanding of the nature of the thought forms composed of the same substance. A thought form is a peculiar manifestation of mental activity on the astral plane. It is more than a powerful disturbance in the body of the human aura, although this is the place of its embodiment or birth in the objective world. It is formed in the following manner. A person manifests a strong desire, feeling, or idea, which is naturally filled with the dynamic force of his will. He sets up a series of strong vibrations in the body of the aura, which gradually resolve themselves into a strong whirling center of thought force involved in a mass of strongly cohesive auric substance and strongly charged with the power of the prana of the person. In some cases, these thought forms survive in the auric body for some little time and then gradually fade away. In other cases, they survive and maintain an almost independent existence for some time and exert a strong influence upon other persons coming in the presence of the person. Again, these thought forms may be so strongly charged with prana and so imbued with the mental force of the person that they will actually be thrown off and away from the aura itself and travel in space until they exhaust their initial energy. In the meantime, exerting an influence upon the psychic aura of other persons. A thought form is more than merely a strongly manifested thought. It really is such a thought, but surrounded by a body of ethereal substance charged with prana, and even carrying with it the vibration of the life energy of its creator. It is a child of the mind of its creator, and acquires a portion of his life essence, so to speak, which abides with it for a longer or shorter time after its birth. In extreme instances, it becomes practically a semi-living elemental force of necessarily comparatively short life. To those who find it difficult to understand how a thought form can persist after separation from the presence of the thinker, I would say that the phenomena is similar to that of light traveling in space, long after the star which originated it has been destroyed. Or again, it is like the vibrations of heat remaining in a room after the lamp or stove causing it has been removed, or the fire in the grate having died out, or like the sound waves of the drum beat persisting after the beat itself has ceased. It is all a matter of the persistence of vibrations. Thought forms differ greatly one from the other in the matter of shape and general appearance. The most common and simple form is that of an undulating wave or series of tiny waves resembling the circles caused by the dropping of a pebble into a still pond. Another form is that of a tiny rotating bit of cloud-like substance, sometimes whirling towards a central point, like a whirlpool, and sometimes swirling away from the central point, like the familiar pinwheel fireworks toy. Another form is akin to the ring of smoke projected from the coughing locomotive, or the rounded lips of the cigar smoker, the movement in this kind being a form of spiral rotation. Other thought forms have the appearance of swiftly rotating balls of cloudy substance, often glowing with a faint phosphorescence. Sometimes the thought form will appear as a great slender jet, like steam ejected from the spout of a tea kettle, which is sometimes broken up into a series of short puffed out jets, each following the jet preceding it and traveling in a straight line. Sometimes the thought form shoots forth like a streak of dim light, almost resembling a beam of light flashed from a mirror. Occasionally, it will twist its way along like a long, slender corkscrew or auger boring into space. In cases of thought forms sent forth by explosive emotion, the thought form will actually take the form of a bomb, which literally explodes when it reaches the presence of the person toward whom it is aimed. Every person has experienced this feeling of a thought bomb having been exploded in his near vicinity, having been directed by a vigorous personality. This form is frequently found in the thought form sent out by a strong, earnest, vigorous orator. There are strong thought forms which seem to strive to push back the other persons. So correctly do they represent the idea and feeling back of their manifestation. Others seem to strive to wind around the other person and to try to literally drag him toward the first person. This form often accompanying strong appeal, persuasion, coaxing, etc., when accompanied by strong desire. A particularly vigorous form of this kind of thought form takes on the appearance of a nebulous octopus with long, winding, clinging tentacles, striving to wrap around the other person and to draw him toward the center. The force of the feeling behind the manifestation of the thought form will often travel a long distance from the sender. In fact, in cases of great power of concentration, space seems to be no barrier to its passage. In striking instances of thought transference, etc., it will be found that thought forms play an important part. The variety of shapes of thought forms is almost endless. Each combination of thought and feeling creates its own form, and each individual seems to have his own peculiarities in this respect. The forms I have above described, however, will serve as typical cases to illustrate the more common classes of appearances. The list, however, might be indefinitely expanded from the experience of any experienced occultist, and is not intended to be full by any means. All varieties of geometrical forms are found among the thought forms, some of them being of remarkable beauty. In considering the subject of projected thought forms, moreover, it must be remembered that they partake of and manifest the same colors as does the aura itself, for they are composed of the same material and are charged with the same energy. But note this difference, that whereas the aura is energized from the constant battery of the organism of the individual, the thought form, on the contrary, has at its service only the energy with which it was charged when it was thrown off, being a storage battery, as it were, which in time expends all of its power, and then it's powerless. Every thought form bears the same color that it would possess if it had been retained in the body of the aura itself. But, as a rule, the colors are plainer and less blended with others. This because each thought form is is the representation of a single definite feeling or thought, or group of same, instead of being a body of widely differing mental vibrations. Thus, the thought form of anger will show its black and red with its characteristic flashes. The thought form of passion will show forth its appropriate auric colors and general characteristics. The thought form of high ideal love will show its beautiful form and harmonious tinting, like a wonderful celestial flower from the garden of some far-off paradise. Some sputter out as they travel and are disintegrated, while others continue to glow like a piece of heated iron for many hours. Others persist for a long time with a faint phosphorescent glow. A careful study of what has been said regarding the characteristics of the various feelings and emotions as manifested in the auric body will give the student a very fair general idea of what may be the appearance of any particular variety of thought form, for a general principle runs through the entire series of auric phenomena. An understanding of the fundamental principles will lead to an understanding of any of the particular varieties of the manifestation thereof. Finally, remember this: a thought form is practically a bit of the detached aura of a person, charged with a degree of his prana and energized with a degree of his life energy. So, in a limited sense, it really is a projected portion of his personality. End of chapter. Well, if you thought this chapter was good, which I truly did, there's still more good stuff at the next video as we continue on with psychic influence of color and auric magnetism. So please do hit that like button, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, and head over to the next video for more.